I'm joined here today by Councillor Philip Broadhead, who is the Deputy Leader of Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole Councils. And he's also the portfolio holder for regeneration, economy and strategic planning. In the run-up to our Regen South event, the Business South, one of our best events of the year, and that's due to take place on October the 7th in Bournemouth for the first time, and it seems an exciting time therefore for Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, or BCP, to be involved in that event. You've recently launched an urban regen company called Future Places. Could you tell me a little bit about that to start off with, Philip?
Yeah, sure. So, well, first of all, yes, we're in the process of launching our new urban regeneration company, Future Places, and actually, the Regenerate South Conference will be the very first official event where we're unveiling the kind of the fully formed product. So, you are the preview event of what we're trying to achieve here, and the Future Places concept is a really unique one actually. When we came into administration about a year ago, we realised that the scale of potential that we've got across the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole city region, which is around 500,000 people in the total area. It's bigger than Southampton and Portsmouth put together. The scale is huge, and actually when you take the council's own sites alone, we've already got one development company, the Bournemouth Development Company, which people may have heard of, which has been successfully for 10 years now delivering projects across Bournemouth. But across the whole area, we've got about 11-12 projects currently in hand, with a GDV of between £2 and £3 billion, depending on how you cut it. So a tremendous amount of scale, of opportunity, and we needed to make sure that we could actually deliver that, because one of the criticisms that's often levelled at councils in particular and local authorities is that they do a lot of talking, they make a lot of plans, but they're not necessarily great at delivering. So we decided that we needed a new way of doing things, and it was based around two principles. First of all, let's make sure we can actually accelerate these programs and actually get some delivery on the ground. But secondly, to use the opportunity we've got as this whole city region area to think a little bit differently, more strategically, more connected, to make sure that we're not just building buildings, but we're building better places for the future. And that was the genesis of creating a new wholly owned company by the local authority, which, although owned by the council, is actually really quite autonomous from the local authority as well. And we brought in some fantastic staff and experience, people with real national clout, to be able to take some of the plans that we've got on a page into reality. And I think it's a really exciting time.
And some of those plans then that you're looking at, they seem very adventurous and large scale. Can you take us through some of those?
Yeah, well, I mean, they should be adventurous, and our plan should be large scale, because we are now a place with a population that is nearing Bristol, and we're one of the fastest growing city regions in the UK, and we need to start acting like one. I mean, some of the examples of the projects that we've currently got in hand: we now own the former power station site in Poole, which is one of the largest brownfield sites on the south coast. I mean, it gives a tremendous opportunity, not just for homes for local people and potentially affordable houses and things like that, but actually a whole new quarter to the centre of Poole, which is in real need for regeneration at the moment. It's a fantastic place to live, but there's a lot of key sites that have been sat there for some time. So we're taking the decision to lead from the front. The power station site is one of the biggest, but then you look across the rest of the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole area. In Bournemouth, our Bournemouth International Centre, widely recognised as one of the best international centres in the country, but is now 30 plus years old. So it's time to look at the future renewal of that. And then we've got some key regeneration sites across the rest of Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole as well. So the scale that we've never done it before, but I think what's really keen and what's really unique about the Future Places concept is that the MD that we brought in, Gail Mayhew, was one of the commissioners for the government's Building Better, Building Beautiful Commission. And central to that new thinking is what we're calling a kind of a stewardship approach. So making sure that we're not just building over there and worrying about viability here and worrying about viability here, but let's put the place first. Let's look at a little bit more patient capital, because actually when you do that, and when you have an underlying strategy, that's how you release value. Number one, the real value. That's how you make sure that the place that we're creating is one that's going to be fit for the future.
And with that, I mean, obviously, it's much more than marketing, isn't it? It's not
Mm.
just sort of saying, look, here we are, and here we've got those sites. How are you going to be engaging with developers? Is it going to be easier for them to know who to go to, and who is going to help realise their ambitions?
Yeah, and actually, it's getting some collective buy-in to the ambition that we've got, I think, is absolutely hugely important when you're in an area that's on a really ambitious journey of regeneration. Part of the reason, frankly, why I took on the portfolio, not just of regeneration, but also economic growth and strategic planning, because you can't do one without the other. You can't just get on and build if you don't know the kind of place you want to build. And actually, you can't do any of that if your planning policies and planning systems aren't quite up to scratch as well. So we're on a real journey at the moment. We've got 3 planning systems that we've inherited from the previous councils that now need to come under one banner. So we're completely overhauling our planning department, which has been having challenges from all sorts of reasons like COVID and things. So that's in hand as well. And also using the new local plan that we're developing as an opportunity to make sure that we make sure all of the planning policies around the area are fit for purpose for the place that we want to create. So I think that's the kind of the background to it. In terms of how we then work with the development community, for instance, well, first of all, we need them to engage as much as possible with the local plan process that we've got underway now. And secondly, I talked about leading from the front by creating our own urban regeneration company. Well, one of the remit that we've given them as well is to be the kind of strategic vision and brains of the local authority as we try to curate this new place going forward. So a really close relationship with the private sector and our urban regeneration company will be important to strategize, but also with 12 sites and £2 or £3 billion of GDV, we ain't going to be able to do all of this by ourselves. We're not intending to directly deliver many, if not all of these sites at all. So we're going to need to foster a really, really close relationship with as many of the local developers as we can and contractors, etc., because we've got big plans and we want everyone to be on that journey.
Through the difficulties of the pandemic that hopefully we're coming to terms with now and sort of starting to come out the other side, I mean that put a focus on Bournemouth and that whole sort of region, didn't it? Where it was the place that people wanted to come to. Do you think you would like to see that area seen in a different way by government? Do you feel that it's been a little bit overlooked and everybody thinks, oh yeah, everything's fine down there and it's the tourism place? Do you want to sort of to be realigned for government, really?
Absolutely. And I think it's not just Bournemouth, it's not even just Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, because we are, at scale now, one city region. But I think it's a message for the whole Central South, actually. It's been really interesting, some of the conversations we've been having with central government recently. I wear a number of hats for national positions as well. So I'm the Deputy Chair of the Key Cities Group. I'm also the Deputy Chairman for all of the Conservative councillors across the whole country, of which are 8,000. So we've got a lot of different ways in with government to have these conversations. I think there's a collective view that the Central South area for some time isn't realizing its potential. Part of that is probably because we're not even recognized as, or haven't been in the past recognized as, an area by government. You've had to peg yourself either to the southwest or to the southeast. And many of us would say in the Central South that we're not really either of those. We have our own identity and our own sense of optimism and our own challenges which we need to face as well. I think government are finally recognising that. Some of the conversations we've had with them, for instance, about the county devolution deals, they recognise that we might need to have a more of a definition about that identity of Central South, which I think is a really, really positive movement forward. So we need to stick together as one voice, because I think the collective clout we have of the Central South is really powerful. Closer to home in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, the pandemic has really helped us, if I'm being honest. It's put us on the national staycation stage a lot more. But also, I think combined with bringing the authority together under one roof, we're now acting with a voice and a scale and an ambition that we haven't been able to express before. For some time, we've been one of the fastest growing city regions in the UK. For some time, we've had one of the fastest growing startups and the fastest growing tech industry in the UK. We're now getting some recognition for that and shouting about it. It has its challenges as well. The more popular you get, the more people want to come and live here. So that means that we need to provide homes and more homes as well. But that's, I'd rather have that problem than be sat here going, why is nobody interested? Why is nobody coming? So we've got a lot to offer here, but I think collectively across the central south, our time is about to arrive.
Definitely, I think if there's been one thing that the pandemic has done, it has changed our sort of outlook on lifestyle, hasn't it? That we want to be living in great places and to be able to work from home when we can. Have you got a sort of a wish list of the sort of companies and businesses that you would like coming into your region as part of the regeneration?
Well, I think what's really key, what we've been trying to do in the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole area, and been working with colleagues across the central south region, is to figure out what is our USP, what are our selling points, what do we do really well that we can shout about to bring investment in, bring regeneration in, which is kind of what we're talking about today. I've been really struck. We've been doing a tremendous amount of work that I've been leading on as part of that bounce back recovery over here. We've done things like the Bounce Back Challenge Fund, where we've said it's not just about coming out of the pandemic, it's about trying to leap forward and engaging with lots of our homegrown industries whilst doing that. And I've been flabbergasted actually about how world-class we are in so many different industries, our marine industry, our financial industry, our fintech industries, our aviation industries, our engineering. We've got some world-class businesses all around here. So first of all, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes we need to shout about what we're already good at. But then earlier on, I mentioned some of our emerging industries and the kind of thing that we do really well here in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, but actually across the whole central south, we have a particular USP in as well. And it's those medium-sized companies that are on the verge of got innovation kind of running through their veins that we need to foster. And we're at a scale as well, which is very accessible for government. We are not the size of Manchester or Birmingham or London, but we are quite a good scale. And when you have that mid-sized scale, it's really, really easy to very quickly go from kind of small level to big level without putting a tremendous amount of financial resource into it. So really, I think it's about recognizing all of the things that we're already good at, and then really taking a long, hard look at which areas we want to focus on in the future. Because as you've talked about, we've got all of the natural ingredients already. We're an area of the world that people absolutely love coming to visit, and people want to come and live in as well. So we've got all of that. Now we just need to complement it with all those other things that we're good at as well.
And do you feel that looking to the climate agenda is now going to be part of any sort of regeneration conversation?
Well, the climate agenda has to be part of any regeneration conversation we have now. In fact, it's part of every conversation we're having now, isn't it? And I think one of the things that I certainly noticed over the last couple of years in particular, and I think this is a real positive move, is the conversations that we're now having as a local authority about things like our strategic plans, our local plan, our housing and strategy for our place going into the future, alongside our operational side. It's gone from, oh gosh, don't we need to consider the climate and sustainability implications and having it as a separate work stream, to becoming almost business as usual. I'm not being complacent by any stretch, but I've been struck recently by the fact that it's worked its way into every conversation without any, half as much effort as we had in the future. So I think that's a real positive trend overall. What we need to do now is make sure that we continue that, and we don't shirk our responsibilities, and we don't start to forget about it. Part of it is through some of the adhering to some of the national policies that are coming through. But again, I've been struck in some of the conversations that we're having, not just in our own developments, but across private industry and other developers as well, is that no longer is good enough just good enough. And actually already people are saying, well, okay, we might need to be here to meet the national standards, but you know what, we want to be here, from a kind of a moral point of view for the next generation, but actually from a business commercial sense, consumers are tremendously more savvy in this area than they have been in the past, and they're demanding quality. So the kind of those businesses, those local authorities that are getting ahead of that narrative, giving the consumers what they know they are wanting in the future, I think are the ones that are going to be successful. So So it's the right thing to do, but also I think in many circumstances, it's the right commercial thing to do as well.
And I think increasingly so for the sort of talent that you're going to be wanting to bring to the region, you know, it's going to be number one on their agenda, isn't it? It's going to be their interest. Does the whole thing feel for you like a large personal responsibility? There you are, sort of building this vision for your region. I mean, that's exciting, but it comes with a, you know, it is a big responsibility, is it not?
It's a huge responsibility, but it's a huge honor. You know, people, you don't get involved in politics because you want people to like you. I can tell you that much. And you don't do it for the money either. The reason you do it is because you quite often you want to make positive change. And you know, I have 3 young children. This is my home. This is an area that I want to curate and foster and make really exciting for them in the future. I've always had a saying that, you know, you if you're not moving forwards, you're going backwards. There's no such thing as standing still at all. And you know, you talk about the climate agenda. I picked my 9-year-old up from school today, and she's really excited because on the back of last year getting voted to be the most likely to be a politician, which I think she thinks is a good thing, and I'm not quite sure. She's just taken on the role of eco warrior in her school because it's really, really important for her. So we have to remember the next generation. But also, if somebody doesn't come in and bulldoze things, and I don't mean literally, I mean in terms of just, you know, plowing through and getting stuff done, then there is that tendency to slide backwards. We've got a really tremendous opportunity in the Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole area at the moment. We've now brought the councils together so that we've got that scale. We've got that critical mass where, you know, a city in all but name alone, 500,000 people in the wider travel to work area. That brings some tremendous challenges around homes for the future, homes for, you know, my children in the future, making sure that climate agenda is top of what we do, making sure that we don't come to a standstill in terms of things like congestion. And you don't find the solution. They're big questions, and you need big answers to those solutions. So I think it's a tremendous responsibility. I'm really, really proud to be surrounded by a team that are as gung-ho and as ambitious as me. But I'm absolutely determined that now is the time. It's this relative perfect storm, an optimistic perfect storm, when we can absolutely get things done and set a new place for the next 20, 30 years.
And as people are preparing to come along to Regen South on October the 7th, what would you hope they would get out of coming along to that event?
Well, the 2 things that I hope people will get out of the forthcoming Regen South conference is first of all a sense of the ambition and the optimism that we have, not just for the area that I look after in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, but actually the whole central south region. We are an area that is absolutely on the up. We are finally getting recognition. We've got our own identity and our own definition, and now's the time to really spell it out. So getting that collective buy-in to that vision, I think, will be really important. Secondly, these things have to be interactive. I'm a politician with a very firm idea of what I think the future should look like, but also I know that, you know, very often I'm not right. I do not have all the answers, and you know, we need to hear from as many people about whether the vision that we're creating for the future is the right one, where we're going right, where we're going wrong, what input other people want to have, because we have to co-curate this together. So I love coming to conferences such as a Regenerate South conference because it's what I get out of it as much as anything else. I often come away from these events brimming with ideas, brimming with new contacts and new networks, because we can't do this alone. We're absolutely all in this together. And, you know, I'm a shameless optimist, but I really do think that our time is now. And in the next 12 months, 18 months, the momentum that we can have in the Central South will rival anywhere else in the UK.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. And yeah, look forward to seeing you at Regen South.
Thank you.